You know, The Guardian is for the liberals the same way the Mary Sue is for nerds and geeks. It is the most hilarious website that you'll ever visit with absolute gem headlines, and one of these headlines is something that...
John Wick Chapter 2 is a shameful example of Hollywood gun pornography.
I love it. It's everything that was absolutely terrible about Moral Guardian Initiative brought into one article by The Guardian. Remember that time where there's an article criticizing Watch Dogs 2 for having guns? Well, I personally have played that game and I can confirm to you a lot of missions don't require you to use guns, aka it's perfectly freaking optional. I understand arguing on that, but criticizing John Wick for being a gun porn is like criticizing furries for wearing animal costumes. I mean, that's kind of the main appeal, right? And if you haven't watched John Wick, just fucking watch it. It's an excellent movie. The sequel is out there in the theaters and it is also great.
The sequel to Keanu Reeves' sleeper hit might be efficiently slick, but its obsession with weaponry leaves a nasty taste in the mouth.
Nasty taste in your mouth, maybe? I mean, how are you so damn sure that your taste is about as equal as anybody else? At least when I read my reviews, I tried to disclose that my opinions are mine and my tastes are mine. You write this review as if your taste is gonna be the same as everybody else. Well, not in this particular matter, you're pretty much alone.
What you think? A college asked as we spill onto the sidewalk outside the Manhattan screening room. I think I need 2 aspirin, I said, clutching my throbbing head.
You got headaches watching this movie. Valid complaint, the last one is nice action, but the colors and the bright lights can give some headaches too.
The critical reaction to John Wick Chapter 2 has been quite positive, and I can understand why. Audiences get to pick and choose, but we critics, the brave soldiers of the cinema trenches hurling ourselves atop grenades to save you from a bad movie, suffer to more junk than you can possibly imagine, especially in the early months of the year.
Oh, boo-hoo, you suffer through seeing bad movies. How about you just stop for a moment and just write the review instead of complaining about your job midway through?
Director Chad Stahelski, cinematographer Dan Lawson, production designer Kevin Kavanaugh, stunt coordinator J.J. Perry, and their teams. It must be made abundantly clear. Our wizards working on the top of their class, and the leap in quality from typical action direct to this is undeniable.
I predict that there's gonna be a but, Wait for it. Wait for it.
But eventually we'll need to ask, where does this end? Just because we can rattle our brains with bone-snapping, aorta-snipping, cranium-splashing violence, does that mean we have to? At what point does this hyperactive, blood-soaked, corpse-strewn video game aesthetic, however laudatory its choreography, cease being harmless entertainment and become psychologically invasive? And that's why I've called you all to the PTA tonight.
Projection alert! Projection alert! This movie psychologically affected you to the point where you need a PTA, therefore everybody is. At least I agree on the first part. And to compare this to video games, oh my god, video games are violent. Show of hands, who's tired of seeing this argument over and over again? I mean, we keep on giving our counter-arguments on why video game violence is absolute nonsense, but here you are complaining about video game violence. You know what? As we get through this article, I'm just gonna show you some video game violence just to trigger you.
Okay, so I know I sound like someone terrified of witchcraft lurking in the heavy metal lyrics, but common sense and my own viewing habits have me convinced that desensitization to violence is a real thing. Years ago, watching a beatdown or shootout would send me into a white-knuckle sweat. Now, I don't stop munching my popcorn. To put it bluntly, it took filmmaking this good to realize just how sick we've all become.
Dude, I played the most violent video game you can ever imagine. If I saw people shooting out or people beating the living shit out of each other on the streets, I would be horrified. This is another case of projection, and you need some fucking help. And ladies and gentlemen, I hereby all announce to you that the inability to distinguish between fiction and reality is actually a very common mental disorder that happens among bloggers, especially on very politically motivated blogs. Instead of naming video game addiction as mental disorder, World Health Organization, how about we name the inability to distinguish between fiction and reality as an actual mental disorder? We need a good name for it though. I call it the Kari syndrome.
You're running away from the truth because it's ugly?
Why not? What's wrong with running away from reality if it sucks?
Seriously, desensitization to violence is only a real thing when they are exposed to real-life violence. Video games do not desensitize you to real-life violence. It desensitizes you to video game violence. Just because you're good at Sniper Elite doesn't make you a fucking sniper. And I can't believe that I have to argue about this in current year. I can't believe people like this still exist in a site called The Guardian, no less. Am I stuck on a time loop? Is this the 90s all over again? Why can't society progress and accept that video game violence is just absolutely nothing? Oh, but that would mean that society should be smart and intelligent. Nobody wants that. What do you think the Common Core is for?
John Wick Chapter 2, a string of elaborate bullet ballet with only trace of elements of a plot, is hardcore gun pornography, pure and simple. And when the imagery faded along with the hoots and hollers of the audience, I felt sunk in a crater of guilt, choking on a miasma of shame. This specific film may seem like an unfair place to shout enough, but it is a clear indication of intelligence is, in a weird way, doubly irksome. This is a movie that wants to have its shotgun blast to the head and eat it too.
Yes. Yes, it is an action movie that is violent, and it's obvious that this sort of movie is not for you. The Guardian, why even give the review of this movie to someone whose tastes are not even this movie?
In the first John Wick, which, yes, I awarded 4 stars back in 2014, back before I became so easily shell-shocked, I guess, the big surprise...
Wait. So you did give the first movie a positive review. But what the hell happened? The Guardian. Not even once.
A lustily shot sequence teases out one weapon after another, and, to one who has never held a firearm and has no intention of doing so, each make and model just sound like chrome noise, until our hero was handed an enormous rifle in the AR family. That's one I've heard of. I recognize it as the gun of the choice in Newton and Aurora in San Bernardino. The Pulse Dance Club in Orlando fell into an MCX, the Pepsi to the AR-15's Coke.
What? You were there during the fucking incident or something? Are you seriously gonna hinder on people's fun on violence and entertainment because, oh my god, tragedy happened years ago with guns? What?
Why the need for so much gruesome, graphic violence? Why not let us imagine
because
a little
it's so
of it?
much fun, Jan.
Really?
Get it?
Oh, really? Okay, I'd like to see you walk down the street and get attacked by some kids who've just seen your movie.
But see, Jan, you're all messed up because you're talking about real life.
Oh,
and I'm
I see.
talking
And kids
about
at
the
12,
movies. You got to
kids
get
at
it
12.
straight. Now, if you want to talk about the movies, we'll talk about the movies.
Okay, and
If you
kids
want to
at
talk about
12
real
can
life,
tell
we'll
the
talk about real
difference.
life.
So it's supposed to be funny when Keanu Reeves' John Wick and his nemesis, played by Common, have to temporarily call a truce when their brutal brawl crashes to the lobby of the Continental, but I don't know, that little dose of intentional comedy wasn't enough to wash the bloody taste out of my mouth.
You're the one who personally have a PTSD and who bring real-life tragedies in here. Good God. Every single time I read articles, the problem has never been about the things that they're complaining. The problem has always been the blogger, The Guardian. Not even once.
Stylized violence in movies isn't gonna away anytime soon, nor is it always uncalled for. The last movie I remember with so many gunshots to the head was Oliver Hirschbiegel's Downfall, but violent movies come...
Downfall? As in...
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl!
Good times, good times.
Yet Downfall is the one that keeps coming up, because it was a rich story with urgent themes, historical resonance, and dramatic tension. These high body count brutality fests, even the cleverly made ones like Hardcore Henry or The Raid 2, are ephemeral, and the mindless doesn't stick, no matter how many minds are shown sticking into the wall.
Sebenarnya kurang kalau begini. Nggak ada gregetnya.
The reason why you think Downfall has a rich story with urgent themes, historical resonance, and dramatic tension is because you're the kind of person who would relate to that sort of thing. I mean, good lord, why Downfall? Why pick that movie that has been constantly memed throughout the past 10 years? It's a stale meme, I know, but man, you brought up memories. It shows to me that this person hasn't seen any kind of action movies or maybe even movies in general on the past couple of years. Or maybe even the past decade, considering that Downfall was like 2004. How about you shut the fuck up, chicken? And Kingsman was like 2015 and it's even more gruesome and violent. Also a movie I highly recommend.
I don't think it's overly prudish to wonder just where the line of decency is as audience bloodlusts continue to get chummed. Eventually, the moviegoers staggering out of a violent screening looking for headache tablets will be you.
Yes, it is overly prudish. You can't even listen to what you're saying. You're saying that violent things in fiction should be less violent because real life violence is disgusting, yo. You have a severely acute Ikari syndrome and you need to be treated into a nearby mental institution. And good lord, the last line. You fucking projectionist. The only movie that I suffered to a serious headache from after watching it was 50 Shades of Grey, because I have absolutely zero clue of why a rational human being would go see this movie and came out thinking it was fucking amazing. Eventually, it would be me who go out looking for headache pills. Wow, what kind of fear-mongering is that? So there you have it. Moral guardians at The Guardian, they exist on this world and are gonna absolutely trash everything that you like because morality and feelings are more important. The Moral Guardian. Nothing more to say. And before we end this video, boy, the patrons keep on coming. Thank you so much, guys. Timic83, Jack Parrot, and Benjamin Farmer, you guys are amazing. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead, click like button, and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon. Thanks for watching.